Hey, Buru, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. Hey, it's your favorite Babaláwo, at least I hope so. Omodum, Oddi Leke, coming at you with another great Sunday lesson, right? Speaking everything Yoruba cosmology, trying to dig into the secrets and the arts, right, of Ifa, of Orishas, of Eguns, right? And first things first, we always want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for being able to provide me this opportunity and this platform to actually do this. So I always want to give thanks to the viewers. But more importantly, we definitely want to say Moyumba Lodomari, right? Moyumba to Olofin, Moyumba to Olorum, to Olokum, right? Moyumba, again, just kind of getting our minds right as I praise, right? And I give praise to. And in this case, Moyumba Olodumare, I give praise to God, Olodumare. Right. So I want to say, hey, again, thank you for tuning in. I want to make sure that we hit this particular lesson, right, with what we've been doing so far, with complementing the last three sessions that we did. Right. So this is our session number 4, right? The Sunday, no kidding. Let's get down to business and let's just talk Ifa. Let's open up our minds. Let's get our minds right. And I truly appreciate you all coming on here today. Hey, happy Sunday to you as well, Alex. Good to see you on here. Hey, so today I want to talk about the crown, right? But the real crown. A lot of people, and I find myself telling people this over and over again because I think because of the entertainment industry and maybe the stigma that the faith has, we find ourselves in this place where we feel, right, the our guardian Orisha is everything. I'm crowned, I'm a son or daughter of whoever, and we find ourselves in this weird place, right? But a lot of times we haven't really put some of that critical thought that's necessary behind it. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish today. Today I want to talk about you. You becoming the king and the queen of your destiny, right? Each and every one of you has the potential to be the greatest. Each and every one of you, at the end of all of this, can be a king or a queen. How does that sound? How does that sound to each and every one of you? Imagine if the struggles that you are in today are merely barriers that we just haven't discovered how to overcome. And how do we do that? And that's the key. Hey, bro boy, Bucheche, Paul, good to see you on here. So with that, you know, I greet you with a lot of peace, right? From the creator, Olodumare, from Orumila, right? Who's the witness to destiny and the power of Ori. So let's talk about Ori, right? Ori. Ori is a divine spirit within your head, right? And as we talked in previous, Sunday sessions, we explored a lot of profound beginnings, right? We reflected on the spiritual alignment with creation, right? We talked a little bit about the origin of consciousness. We learned, through Otrupong Meji, right? How, every faculty of our being, right, is based on the intelligence that came into this world. The intelligence meaning the Orishas. Now, we saw that no one can be so clever as to pick up water with their own cloth. They needed to look at the concepts, right? Think about the most very primitive man when they first walked this earth, right? They were still trying to figure out fire, still trying to figure out how do I move things from point A to point B. You have to remind yourself that through some of these limits, right, that there was still a supremacy of divine wisdom that you had inside of you, right? Even from the early times. And I want to make sure that you understand that you are still mighty. Doesn't matter what trials and what tribulations and the things that you are going on today, you can still be that king or that queen. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. The question, the question is when we turn inward personally, right? And we view ourselves, are we truly doing what it is necessary to do to claim our throne? So our focus is going to be on that, right? Becoming the best version of ourselves, right? We're going to learn nonetheless from our ita, right? How many times have you been told, right? Doesn't matter what spiritual house you come from, right? How many times have you been told, learn your ita, learn your ita? For me, I'm like a broken record to a lot of my god kids because I say, oh, have you learned your ita? Oh, I want to become a priest or a priestess. Oh, I want to go receive X, Y, and Z. Learn your ita. Learn your ita. It's broken record mode, right? Because that is truly your blueprint, right? Imagine this. You came to Ifa, or maybe you haven't, and you're thinking about it. Highly recommend it, right? You came to Ifa and you wanted to understand your spiritual blueprint and how you can conquer the world both spiritually and materially as a king and a queen that you are destined to be. But I give you the roadmap, and then all of a sudden you don't follow the roadmap. Or unfortunately, let's say you went to someone who provided you a service. I call these people that walk you through Awofaka and Ikofa, never follow up, never really give you a plan. They gave you some advice when you were sitting there receiving your hand of Ifa, and they kind of did one of these and they kind of cleaned their hands. Or maybe they sent you something from a book and they emailed it to you. Or maybe they said they were going to send something to you and never send it to you. I've seen and I've heard 100 different scenarios. And this is not necessarily a blame game. This is not necessarily something to build frustration, but it's something I need you to understand. The most important thing that you have, the most important tool, the very foundation when you came in this faith was your ita. Doesn't matter if you're crowned olorisha or not. It doesn't matter if you're a priest or a priestess in Palo Moyumbe. It doesn't matter if you're just an Aleyo. And none of that matters. Because that ita that you receive when you have received your hand of Ifa is the blueprint. The only person that can no longer say that is really the Babaláws because they were able to wipe that ita clean and they were starting fresh with three other itas, and the Babaláws understand what I'm saying, right? So honestly, the majority, if we say that the Babaláws are like the 1%, and we say that everybody else is the 99%, then that means everyone should be on the same page here. Your ita will lead you to success. But then you say, hey, well, I don't know about my ita. Maybe you did Google searches. Maybe they even told you to go do Google searches, and that's terrible. If you're relying on Google, no, you need to find someone who can teach you. You need to go back to your godparents and tell them, hey, I need to learn more about my ita. I need my do's and my don'ts, right? And I don't just care too much about my toyale. Obviously, that's 90% of the battle, that first sign. But there was accompanying signs. There was a prophecy. There was an ebo that was marked. All those things have to come together in order for you to find that throne, that king and queen, that moment of your time. And you have to be ready for that, right? So what does it mean, right, to be a king or a queen of your life? Think about it. I'll give you guys a second, you know what I mean, to really think about, what are the struggles you're going through right now with family, with friends, with society, with work, you name it, right? What does it mean to be a king or a queen in your life? What would you change? And now that you've thought that out, how can I apply for that change within my spiritual path and growth? And now you start to see, okay, am I doing everything possible that I can do, right? In order for now the spiritual world to come from the top rope, kind of like the icing on the cake. We're going to put the fruit, we're going to decorate it. I did my part with my personal conduct. I did my part through change. I did my part because I learned my ita and I'm following the growth. Now, hey, spiritually, hey, I need some of this help. And your Ori awakens and says, absolutely. And we're going to invoke all the help. And we're going to get the help from Changon, Yamayan, Ochun, and you name it. All right. Then now, now we're talking about mastery of your destiny through the alignment of Ori, through your divine self. Right. So we need to dig deep into this. Right? The sacrifices and the character required to fulfill your destiny. That's what that means. Anybody can come right now. You can have a suitcase full of money saying, hey, I just need you to go do this. I need to get out of this situation. And I am forced by the laws of Ifa to say, well, wait a minute. All right, you want to change. You want something to change. You want the energies of this world to manipulate a situation. So what have you done to exchange? You want everything else to do the power for you, and you think money is going to solve the problem, but you haven't done anything. Where's the personal accountability? If you give energy, internal sacrifices, and then I give the energy as a priest, then guess what? Now you got results. But if you don't waste your money. Doesn't matter how much it is and the mountain of money that it could be. If your Ori does not destine it to be, it will not be. Very important for us to remember. So let's begin. Let's begin. Let's dig deeper. This is the beginning. This is the intro. But I wanted you guys to understand where my head was going. Right? So, I just want you guys to understand at the end of the day, please, no external divinity, okay, can elevate you, right? If your Ori is not aligned, if your Ori is not appeased and aligned. It will bring all the forces in harmony to support you when it's appeased and aligned. Big key here. Big key here. Hey, good morning, Diaz. How you doing? Oh, look at that. Look at that. All right. So now let's jump in. Hey, so what is Ori? What's this Ori I speak of? Sometimes people don't truly understand the Ori. Sometimes people don't necessarily get this whole concept of Ori, right? And in simple terms, right? In simple terms, Ori. Ori, in simple terms, is your head, right? And in Yoruba spirituality, it signifies more than just your head, though. Ori is your personal divinity, your own personal everything right there. All spiritual things right there. You have it, you own it, it's yours, right? The guardian of destiny and the essence of your consciousness. And it's often that Ori is the first and foremost Orisha in each person. Again, everybody has this big, I don't know if it's a fad, I don't know what it is, but everybody's like, oh, I'm a guardian Morisha is this. I'm a son and a daughter of this. It's great. I hear you. I hear you. Don't forget your Ori, right? For all the obvious reasons I told you. The guardian of your destiny is your Ori. The essence of consciousness, that's your Ori. And again, sometimes, we personify the Orisha in its own right, and that's okay, but it has to be in conjunction with Ori. When a Babaláwo, maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't. When a Babaláwo pulls your guardian Orisha, honestly, there are certain factors that Babaláwos have to go through, right? And every Ila is different, right? So don't take me for gospel, but I would tell you that, this is the process I was taught. This is the process I imply. The Odum has to match the Orisha. So when we go through the process of asking who your guardian Orisha is, it's because Ifa has already spoken. Wisdom has already given me the destiny sign. Through that destiny sign, I will now reveal who's this mediator in your life. Who is your guardian Orisha, your Orisha Batori? And we go down that road. Now, genetically speaking, sure, if mom and dad are crown priests or priestesses or have their hand of Ifa and we understand who's their guardian Orishas, we can absolutely go that road as well. Genetics doesn't lie, right? 1 plus 1 equals 2. The odds of that child being a child of one of those two, very likely. So then there's that art, right? So then we have to begin to kind of dig into that a little bit. So very important that you notice, and I just want you to guys could just kind of be somewhat familiar with this. So then if I say that, that inner God self, right? That Oddi, that personification, right, of your very destiny is linked to your guardian Orisha. The relationship was already built way before you were born. So your Ori already has pacts with different Orishas. Your Ori, this is the reason why we have to mark your head accordingly. These things don't flush together, you have a problem. So it's very important, right, that we remember that. Ifa teaches, right, that Ori is central to everything, we are going to achieve. There was a powerful verse, right, in our tradition that explains that when Ori matters, you know, um, Ori matters to a certain point that no one can deny because it was Olofin, right? A primordial energy created by God Himself, a direct lineage, a very next direct creation from God, Olofin, right? Ask who's going to accompany these spirits, right? This Emi, this divine breath that will now be animated into this world, right? And never abandon them. And not even death, no Orisha, nobody answered the call. The one who answered the call was Ori. So all other guardians, even though we love them, you know, they might turn back when they see the threshold of death or struggle. But Ori never leaves your side. The stories tell us everything. Eyobe outlines our genesis, our beginning. We see these fragments of information, but sometimes we're blinded by it, or maybe we don't know about them. Right? So Ori is Olofin's manifestation in every human being as well. Because it was through Olofin's decree that Ori will take that place. Right? So then you got to start to kind of think about it. And you say, damn, no wonder Ifa says that the individual's identity and destiny takes primacy. That is the primary role. This is not to take away from your guardian Orisha. Ma farafun chango in my life all day. That is my guardian Orisha. That is my Orisha Batori. Love Chango. Hell, you got a throne over here with Chango still that's up and running because I don't want to take it down. It looks nice and I love Chango. But at the end of it, I also know that I have my Ori, right? And I have to make sure that my Ori is doing well, right? And I even went as far as let's receive Ori, right? So I made it my point to ensure that my alignment was there, right? So just food for thought there, right? So in practical terms, right, aligning with Ori, knowing yourself, fulfilling your destiny, your soul's choice, your spirit, right, before you were born, right? I want you guys to all understand this. Your Ori or our Ori, right, knelt, took a knee, right, before God Himself, Olodumare, and chose the destiny, right? And this destiny came with accomplishments, challenges, and growth, right? And that destiny was codified in an Odungifa, revealed in your Ikofa and Awufaka. And that is the Ita, right? That walks with you. And it's complemented when you get crowned and you go through Cariocha and you receive your Ita there from Elegua and your guardian Orisha. Ita is a sacred record of your destiny's parameters. And it follows you. It's not just all about Ifa. No, Ifa gives you the first Ita, you get crowned, you get more Itas, you become a Babaláwo. We change those things around and we give you more Itas. But the Ita is the sacred record. So your guarding, your guiding Odum, we'll say this, your taboos, your prescriptions, which are the eboses, right? Your spiritual roadmap, right? To learn one's ita is to learn the specific destiny one is tasked to live, okay, and the key to living it well. So for everybody who has hand of Ifa online right now, or those that are thinking about receiving hand of Ifa, for example, I will, be doing another plante for hand of Ifa in March. At the conclusion of that plante, I give my god kids voice clips on everything that they got. I offer paperwork that gives them a complete breakdown of all three signs, the prophecy. Then I give them a spiritual roadmap that kind of outlines that based on this Odum, based on the prophecy, based on your guardian Orisha, and everything that I'm seeing, the next step you should do is X. And the next step, X. And the next step, X. Here's something that's very scary that we have to get away from. Everybody says the same thing. Oh, well, everybody has to do this and everybody has to do that. Everybody goes to this. Be careful because my Oddi is different than your Oddi. My guardian Odisha is different than your guardian Odisha. My circumstances and my Odu are different than the next person. So not everybody's going to be identical. Some people are going to have longer roadmaps. Some people are going to have very short roadmaps. And let me warn you here. Let me warn you here, because this is another thing that I find very interesting. If you receive your hand of Ifa, and now they're saying, hey, you got to go get crowned. You got to go right now. Hey, you were destined to be a Babaláwo, but you had to be a Babaláwo yesterday. Go run. It's not that I'm against it. I think it's beautiful, but I'm worried about the running part. I rather you take your time, get different ebos to hold you down, right? Consult with your godparents to say, okay, how do I better map this out? Because guess what? These things are expensive. They're not cheap. The labor and 10 priests and priestesses and the cooks and the animals in 7 days. And I gotta get a dress and I gotta get tailors and I gotta get the little gifts and I gotta get the last day for the table and all the food and all the it's ridiculous. The ingredients and the mounting and I mean, just keep that list going on. It's expensive. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a magical money tree in the backyard. I can just plug it out and just say, all right, guys, we're ready. We just don't. It's the reality. So then that's one reason why I say that. The second reason why I say that is because do you even know the foundation of the faith? If I asked you right now, well, we pray to God, do we not? All right. So then after God, who's next? Right? What's that chain of command I like to say in my military life, right? Chain of command. What does that look like? Right? What's that authority line look like? How does that reach to me? What's the most important thing for me? Have I complemented all my egun rights for my spirits and my ancestors? Do I understand the foundation of what I am entered into? Can I speak intelligently about my faith and everything that my faith encapsulates? Those are the questions that honestly, when I sit back and I say, how are you a priest and a priestess if you don't know the very foundation of things? And yet now you want to go become a priest and a priestess, or you want to be that person that comes out of the room that absolutely knows nothing, right? There's a difference between humbling yourself and always saying you know nothing, right? And we do it all the time. People say, "Oh man, you've been a Babaláwo for a while." Nah, just a little bit. I'm still young. This, that, and the other. All right, very humble. Got to check. But then there's a difference between you just coming out of the room and be fine. You don't even know who Olodumare, Olofin, Olodu, Olorum, Olokun. You don't even know who's Odudua. You don't even know how Ori and Orumila sit in the hierarchy of things. And then when I start talking about Odun and Aye, you look at me funny like, who's Aye? And it's not the little issue, right? In the conch shell. No, no, no. I'm talking about the earth, right? So think about that. Right? Think about that. Don't again. My god kids that are online right now looking at this are probably laughing right now because they're gonna say it. He's gonna say it. Right? This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. All right. There's time and place for everything. You have to rush and get crowned for something. Absolutely. Some people got to do it. I'm not denying that one bit. But those cases are more rare than common, right? And at times, yes, we may have to work backwards in order to rush somebody through the finish line in order to get them where they need to be. But I caution each and every one of you. All right, bro boy Bucheche. Nah, good to hear. Olofing and Olorung and Olokum. Alex. Good, good. Now, now, aligning with your Ori is not a passive and easy process, right? Ifa, Ifa scripture itself, in the Odung of Ifa, all the reminders are there. Active journey of faith, sacrifice, and good character. All right. The goal of our spiritual practice is oneness, unification, right, of our earthly consciousness, our Ori. And with our higher divine consciousness, right, then now we can achieve anything, right? Through the ebos, through the ethical development of things, through listening to Ifa's counsel, and through our self-discipline, our prayers, our attendance of our warriors every week. Am I cleaning my bowl with that? Have I entered and put discipline into my life to ensure that this is just as important as waking up and brushing my teeth in the morning, taking a shower? All important things that we will ensure that we do, or maybe not. I don't know, but you should. But that's the key, right? We got to remember this, guys. We got to remember this. Bring your Ori into alignment with Olodumari's will for you, because believe it or not, you chose this life. It's not maybe maneuvering, right? Because you're just not there. You're not where you're supposed to be. Right? So Rumila teaches us that nonetheless, that the endeavors are they're hard, requiring years of effort and soul searching. But the glory of being a king or a queen that's going to sit on their throne, worth it. It's literally the reason why we practice Ifa at all, is to realize your divine self. Who doesn't want to know who the divine self is? Let's consider all the Ifa teachings, 256 Odums, right? And let's just do the math, right? 16 major Oduns, 240 complementing Oduns, right? And then when you start to kind of see how they interact with each other, and then all of them have associating Orishas, and all of them have associating spirits of every element in this world. And those 256 Oduns come together and encapsulate what is this world and this universe, and tells us the grand story and our purpose and our do's and don'ts. Only 256, guys. This is not hard. This is going to be simple. And if you're not a priest or a priestess of Ifa, this is not your job to do. This is a Babalao's job to interpret. This is a Babalao's job to tell you, give you your spiritual roadmap. Sometimes we got to challenge, not challenge our elders, but we got to challenge the system. Sometimes we fall into complacency, or maybe, godparent is busy, or maybe whatever that looks like, right? But you still have a responsibility to push yourself forward, all right? So maybe you got to nudge them a couple of times, and that's okay, right? I tell my god kids all the time, boy, if you don't keep me honest, there could be the possibility that I forget something. As organized as I try to be, I'm always trying to be better, right? And so it's okay to do that, right? This is supposed to be a comforting and empowering truth today. That's my goal for each and every one of you, right? Within each of us is a silent warrior, a king, a queen that never gives up on us. That's our Ori. Knowing this, shouldn't we turn and give up, you know, ourselves to this concept? There's an old Oriki, a prayer that the Yorubas told me in Asia Shesai, and I thought it was pretty cool because it says, I'm not gonna go through the Yoruba, but I'll just tell you what the translation is. And it says, it is one's own head that one should rely on. It is one's Ori that brings the good fortune of life. right? In other words, your destiny is in your hands under God. The divine breath that animated each and every one of our bodies, that created this cycle of birth. You live with an essence of God inside you every day. Why would you not get after it? So I know I'm probably on my soap towel and I'm on my soapbox, but I need us to all really get into this. And if you're listening right now, I need you to start asking questions. I want to get deep into questions. This is the point of this. This is the reason why I'm taking the time out of my day on a Sunday to come tune in with you. It's not because I like to hear myself speak. Honestly, I do these videos and I never hear myself again. No, I would love to be on the couch kicking back. But instead, I'm here with you because I care. And I know that this faith needs a push in the right direction. There's a lot of people claiming a lot of greatness out there. A lot of people claiming they're great Babaláwos. A lot of people claiming to promise all types of things in this world. And they're all just wolves in sheep's clothing. And I worry about that for each and every one of you. I want you to learn and grow. You know what I mean? Whether I am your favorite Babaláwo or not. At the end of the day, I care. And that's the goal of this. The reason why I put my email address out here. The reason why I like to let people kind of reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's have a chat. Let me help guide you. Not that you need to abandon maybe a spiritual house that you're in, but let me help navigate you so that you can have the conversations better. Maybe what you're saying is not necessarily as clear as it could be. Maybe you need some advice. It's all about life coaching. Being a priest and a priestess is just that, but you have to have the attentive ear. The elders back in the day would remind you, you have two ears and one mouth. Why do you think you have two ears and one mouth? For double the hearing and less the talking. Sometimes we don't even listen well. And that goes for both sides of the house. I'm not giving the priest and the priestesses an out. And that's just the truth. So, if your ita is your royal decree, it's a map. Imagine somebody's reading the scroll back in the day in the kingdoms, and they're reading it. They're telling you the royal decree. The king is here, sitting on the throne, and this is what right looks like. So whether it's an Ifa, Ocha, initiation, the details, the guide of your life, the sacrifices needed, the taboos you need to listen to, the blessings are meant to be grasped. And the question is, have you studied it? Be honest with yourself. Be honest, you. Do you know your Ida really? Did you have to look it up or did somebody really dissect it for you? Do you really think that because you did a Google search or you went to Scribd or Academia or maybe now you went into some type of AI large language model and you pull it and you say, oh, look, that's me. Yes, yeah. Oh, right there. Yes, that has to be me. If only it was that simple to be a Babaláwo, then you're probably missing the boat here, right? So I highly suggest for you to truly question yourself. Do you truly know your Ita? Are you living by its wisdom? And if things are not going right in your life, we need to probably revisit that again, right? To conquer the world spiritually and materially, then we are destined to learn those lessons in our Ita and apply them. Okay, so here's some of these massive movements I want to do before I leave you guys here. We've been on here for 35 minutes, right? And I see you guys are receptive, and that's good. Um, but something that I need you to know. I urge you to learn your Ita. Trust the truth of Ifa's words will reveal itself in the future, always. Effectively put on that crown the Lodumare already tailored for you. Remember, you are a king, you are a queen. You will sit on that throne if you have the discipline and the fortitude to take care of your personal conduct, bring in the spirituality to that conduct, right? And then allow your Ori to guide you where you need to be, and you will be the greatest. You will be the best version of you that nobody can stop. So do that. You know, Oddi Ifa teaches that Ori sacrifice and personal destiny. So our sacred Odun Ifa are filled with lessons about the power of Ori, the necessity for sacrifice, the fulfillment of destiny. So sometimes we got to look towards that. So I wanna kind of now focus on a pataki. You guys love patakis. You guys like story time. So after these stories are over, if I'm gonna answer whatever's in the chat, and then we're gonna end the session. so so please ask, put your questions in there. So there was a an old pataki, right, that comes from Otrupo Meji, right? And it goes with, you know, in the context, right? The Odu contains kind of a powerful story about Ori, sacrifice, and victory, right? So this is a pataki of two brothers, right? And this comes out of Otrupo Meji, two brothers, right? In the animal kingdom, in the jungle, right? One is the leopard, and the other one was the wildcat, right? They both sought the advice from Orumila because the wildcat had a frightening dream, and was told any five divination that his own brother planned to kill him. The leopard, his brother, was going to kill the wildcat. That's the dream he had, right? So it was so frightening that Orumila acknowledged it, did also did a consultation on the wildcat, came out with the prescription. It says sacrifice to your head a guinea, a guinea fowl, right? And be vigilant, right? In other words, feed your ori so that your destiny will not be cut short. So the wildcat faithfully performed the sacrifice to his ori. Boom, dot. Now, the leopard, the stronger brother, obviously, if you look at a wildcat and a leopard, right? He also did divination. He also went to Urumila to see how he might succeed in killing the wildcat. So he was told to sacrifice or go to Eshu for success. But the leopard, in his arrogance, he refused to sacrifice. In his mind, the first thing he said is that, why would I give up this tasty goat if I could eat it myself? Right? I'm strong enough to take on the wildcat. So, no, I'm not going to do it. So one brother, the wildcat, honors his Ori with the sacrifice required. The other brother, right, kind of pushes away the medicine that he fought prescribed. So what do you think happened? So here comes the cunning leopard, right? Thinking he's ready and he understands what he's gonna do. He's gonna get his brother, he's gonna kill him. So he sets a trap. And the trap was that the leopard was gonna fake an illness. He's gonna request for the wildcat to come and serve his head, right? Like a ruse, is a trick. Right, so when the wildcat got close to him to serve his head because the leopard is sick and needs his brother's help, right? Then he was gonna do the unimaginable. He was gonna kill the wildcat, right? So trusting and kind, the wildcat was like, okay, he nearly fell for it. But his Ori, right, has a way of protecting those that actually align with it. So the wildcat arrived and sensed that something was wrong. His Ori was whispering, intuition was building. Like, man, there's something off. You've all had that. I've had that before, right? You're like, man, something's just not right. How many times do we listen to that intuition? Another question for another day. So he cleverly insisted that before he served the leopard's head, someone else sacrifice a goat. So he had someone sacrifice a goat, right? on the leopard's behalf before healing it. And what he did was he took the goat that was slaughtered, right? And the wildcat used the goat's blood and the head as a decoy. At that very moment, the wildcat rubbed the goat's blood over the leopard's head because remember, it's supposed to be at the end of this, the wildcat serving the leopard, right? And he had the goat's head in front and he slowly stepped back. And when he rubbed the blood over the head of the leopard jumped, grabbed the head, and bolted off. But the wildcat's life was saved because if not, the wildcat would have lost his head. Right? So kind of food for thought there, you know what I mean? As you kind of we dig into this, is that was the defining moment, right? That was a defining moment. So the leopard turned, right? And he saw that his conspiracy unraveled. He was so enraged, right? That he turned on all the accomplices, right? And the chaos kind of ensued still, but he never caught the wildcat. Right? So what's the lesson here, guys? What's the moral lesson? The wildcat survived the plot of the leopard because he did the sacrifice that he made. While that malicious act of his brother, the leopard, right? That wasn't no good, right? That didn't work. It refused and it failed because he didn't do the prescribed sacrifice. So that's the point of the story. Ask yourself now, each and every one of you, what sacrifices have you been neglecting? Right? They might be literal or bulls. You may have received your ita and got told to do X, Y, and Z years ago, probably, or maybe recently. And I ask you, where are you at with that? Maybe it's it bulls with animals, maybe it's offerings, maybe it's personal sacrifices, maybe it's giving up a bad habit. Maybe in your toyale it says, don't do this, that, and the other. And guess what you're doing? This, that, and the other. Right? Maybe it's all offering service to the community. Maybe it's investing time in prayer and study. Maybe, maybe you have to invest in your destiny, which is why I'm harping on this Ita thing. And some of you are probably thinking like, damn, man, this guy keeps talking about the same thing and the Ita and this, that, and the other. Give me the juicy stuff. Give me the obras. Give me the sacrifices and the adibus I can give to Chango or Ogun because I want to give somebody a big, jab in the face. And you're so worried about that short-term goal that you're neglecting the long-term results. Hear me out. You're so worried about the short-term goal and you're not worried about the long-term results. Be careful with that, right? Be careful. So, o trupo meji, trupo meji, you know, that which, one's ori will not support if one cannot sustain its own personal conduct and sacrifice. And we got to remember that. I got another pataki if you guys want to hear it. You guys want to hear it? I don't know if you guys could give me thumbs up or anything. I don't know how the YouTube does it. Um, but if you guys want to hear another pataki, I got another one with Ogunda Meji. This is a good one. In Ogunda Meji, there's a pataki that talks about preparation, right? Humility, right? And alignment versus the pride. Right? But let me look at these. Let me look at these questions on here. Ah, yeah, there you go. Hearts. There's hearts on there. All right. Do you think sometimes after we receive our ita, we feel the urgency or hurry to fulfill our destinies out of fear of not reaching our goals before we pass? And what advice do you have for that? What a great question from Paul. And I think a lot of people at the end of the day, Paul, feel just exactly the way you feel. And here's my honest truth. You know, when I did Ifa, or when I received my hand of Ifa, let's use me as a case, an example to answer your question. I came up with the Odun of Owani Bofun. And in that Oddi, it lists a whole bunch of do's and don'ts. I was very stubborn, and I told my godfather when I received it, there was a lot of talk about eguns and ancestors, and the person needs to, do X, Y, and Z. And then I found myself at that very moment, I found myself in this crossroad because I got all this advice. Go to Ocha, go get crown, you gotta go get scratch, you gotta receive Odum, you gotta receive Osign, you gotta got it, check. I hear you. But I was stubborn and I ran. And running, right? Running actually caused me more problems than to expect. And later, a lot of the secrets of my ita, and it's not just a wani buffoon, but a compilation of, I had to go back in time. After becoming a Babaláwo for years, I reread the story, the book of my life. And I re-looked at ita again. And I said, damn, it told me. It told me about my impending divorce. It told me about the losses in my family. It told me the sacrifices that I needed to do to ensure that these barriers and these trials don't interfere with the long-term goals that are meant for me. I am a true example. It told me about the losses in my family, the deaths. It was laying it all out for me. And what I failed to do was listen because of my arrogance. I didn't give enough time for my ita to unravel itself. And I was already trying to do Ifa. I said, I don't care. Let's do this. Go get crown, go Ifa, go whatever. I don't care. Let's go. Let's go. I want to become a Babaláwo. Zero. I don't care about anything else. I'm ready. I wasn't ready. I was arrogant. Right? And because of that ignorance by my part, right, I missed out on some foundations. I didn't allow that storyline to come through. I didn't do the prescribed deboses for my sign in order to avoid certain trials and tribulations. And I'm not blaming my godfather. My godfather is phenomenal, right? I blame myself because one, I pushed the fact. I pushed that I was trying to run as fast as I can into the room we found become Babaláwo, right? Then I didn't take the personal accountability of, look at my conduct is causing a lot of strife in my world. My personal conduct was not right. It just wasn't conducive. I was still growing up, still trying to mature, right? And I didn't mature fast enough, but yet I want more responsibility, right? So then, you know, I had to be a little bit more understanding of that. And I know that now, which is why I explained that to each and every one of you. Right? So, back to your question. You feel the urgency, but then there's a responsibility on your side that I'm not going to take away from each and every one of you. There's a responsibility on the godparent side that we cannot take away. Right? I get it. Father time doesn't wait for nobody. So I get that as well. People want to get crowned before they pass away, and they want to make sure that they're beating those generational curses. I get all that stuff. Trust me. All of that is legit. So even if you came into this faith, let's say 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, right? And I tell you this because I did Ifa to a guy that was 72 years old. And I did Ifa to a child that was 5 years old. Just the world we live in, right? All different circumstances. And everybody is trying to run to the finish line. But just understand that if you sprint in a marathon and you're giving it all you can in the beginning, you will gas out and you won't finish the race. Are there circumstances, according to Paul's question, where, hell yeah, we got to do things quickly? Absolutely, Paul. And I support it 100%. I see an old doom, man, this person's sick, and what's going to save them is going to be, that crowning or going through the room and be fine. And we're going to save their life, and we're going to take them through that process. But you know what you buy? The responsibility that you have, the responsibility that I have, if I'm the one that's walking you through those doors, is that the moment we do that and we save your life and we did whatever we had to do for whatever reason, now we're going to have to not only work on training you and getting you, back, to 100% as a Babaláwo, but now I gotta go back to elementary school with you and I gotta teach you everything. And it's gonna be overwhelming a little bit. You just gotta be mentally prepared for it. And now that you got all the foundations and everything is up, then boom, now you're caught back up. So it's not that it's not possible. If you want to run, even though I don't recommend it, run. I will be a hypocrite if I told you guys don't run because I ran. Tell you right now, I ran. All right. But the point is that there was some lessons to be learned there. That's why I tell people, take your time. You got tons of things to learn. All right. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I know my destiny is to be a Babaláwo and I want to go ahead and do that. And they trying to prepare. I'm like, what do you know about your Ita? All right. So then you start going through this process. What do you know about God? Do you even know how God connects to all of this? Do you even know what the divinities and the Irumules and the Orishas and what does that mean? What does that mean? If you don't know the book, what makes you think you're going to be any effective over here? Now, in case we got to save your life or if your Ida says go and run, and run. Here's the other piece that nobody tells you, being that we're on this topic. Nobody can stop you from getting crowned. Nobody can stop you from going and getting crowned. No mother or father will deny their child. And this is just my 2 cents. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something out there that says don't get crowned. Don't do it. um, but no mother or father will deny their child. Your guardian, your Orisha Batori, your mother, your father, depending on, masculine or feminine Orisha that's on your head right now, is gonna deny you. Ifa is a different story. 100% could be denied. We understand that. Not everybody is destined to go on that path, but everybody is destined to receive and crown their guardian Orisha. Just my 2 cents here, people. All right, Paul, hopefully I answered that question. And obviously there's always that intimate, details in the back that we can't always see on the chat. All right, let's get into this last pataki before we gotta, we're already 52 minutes in. We're getting good now. We're getting good. You guys are asking good questions. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So in Ogunda Mei, there was a pataki of leadership, the importance of spiritual alignment. So guys, pay attention closely. So before, in the beginning, Olodumare, right, needed trusted leaders to establish civilization on earth, right? And he chose Ogun, right, to lead this mission, right, with a band of followers. So Ogun, with his mighty strength, right, charged ahead without consulting Ifa, without making sacrifices, without planning, right? And he assumed his might alone would guarantee success. So what do you think happened? When Ogun and his people got to the earth, which is Aye, they quickly ran into trouble. They had no food. Ogun's only solution was telling the people to eat the wooden sticks and the barks off the tree. So, unsurprisingly, right, he failed. His followers starved, they perished, and until Ogun's shameful, he shamefully had to abandon his mission, right, and return back to Olorun, defeated. Next, Olodumare chose Olokun, you know, and Olokun for a second attempt. So Olokun was proud, just like Ogun. And likewise, he didn't bother with divination or sacrifices beforehand. He figured his resources, right, and his influence were enough. But when Olokun had arrived on this earth, right, he had a similar fate. his people suffered from hunger and hardship because he too he had no true divine guidance or plan, right? For this very practical problem, which is how do I maintain life in this world? So water alone, right, cannot feed them, right? So they ended up failing, retreating back to Olorum. The people suffered from hunger. You know what I mean? These are people, right? Yeah, got it. Ocean, check. Water, right? So, so they ended up retreating. So too powerful, big shots failed, right? And what should have been a glorious destiny, because they lacked spiritual alignment and humility, they failed. So finally, Orumila approached the mission. Orumila was not, he wasn't a big giant warrior, a warlord, strength. He's not flashy and wealthy figure or local, you know what I mean? He was a wise and perhaps a very unassuming, person with power, but didn't necessarily show it, right? He was a sage. He was the witness to creation. Rumila hesitated, and he humbly wondered if he could succeed where Ogun and Olokun failed. Ogun and Olokun, older, stronger personalities. But he was encouraged, right? By his trusted divining chain, right? He took a little divining chain, no different than these, right? He took his divining chains. And with proper preparation, he knew he would succeed. He was encouraged through consultation, right? He took time to consult the eldest Babaláwos in heaven. He took time and he made all the recommended ebosas he needed to do and to carefully plan for the journey. If I advised him, for example, carry along specimens of all edible plants and animals to ensure the food supply on Earth was there. Right? That was an ebo. Not like the ebo today, where everybody wants to sacrifice a four-legged animal for I don't know, God knows what, but for whatever. So Rumila listened. He obeyed in detail. He even sacrificed a goat to Eshu, and he fed his own personal ifa. He carried the spirit of Ile, the spirit of fortune in the home, with him. So he even took a spirit with him. He even took the plants and the animals, and he fed Eshu, and he fed his Ifa. And in one account, right, to ensure, safe, in order for growth and development, and habitat the earth. In short, he even made sure his Ori was aligned and armed for the task. He gave himself an omberieleda, sacrifice to his head. What's the result, you say? I know you're asking for it. So Rumila successfully established human society on Earth, and where the mightiers, right, could not. Because of his sacrifice and preparation, his followers had food and direction. And I'm gonna tell you, this Pataki is a lot longer. It comes from the beginning of our story, of how this world was created, how it was destroyed, and how it was created again. Right? So there's a massive story here, line that I wish I can share with you. Maybe we'll share one time and we'll see. But nonetheless, he had spiritual, resources to meet them, right? He had all the spiritual resources. He became a foundational king of the earth by the grace of the wisdom and humility, right? So we have to praise Orumila for making this world available and livable. And in Ogunda Meji, it's noted that because of Orumila did what was prescribed, he found the success waiting for him as promised. So we got to kind of look at it, We got to kind of see, You have the potential to be a king or a queen. And without humility and spiritual grounding, where are you going to go? Potentials can collapse under pressure. But guess what? You know what also creates pressure? When you start to kind of sacrifice and you really start to feel that pressure, you create diamonds, baby. When the rock and the coal and the pressure goes too much, it creates diamonds. Think about it. Are you the diamond in the rough that we have yet to discover? Can you be? Can you be? It's up to you. So, Ogunda Mei teaches us the alignment with Ori brings the lasting success. I feel like I got another Odung in me or another Pataki in me that I want to talk to about, but let's see. Let's see if we got any more questions. Let's see if we got any more questions, right? But what else we got in here? Oh, Alex saying thank you. Alex, man, you're a good dude, Alex. Look at him. Benny Baba. Ipabae. All right. I did. Thank you. All right. Perfect. All right. So we got everybody squared away. Should I do another pataki? I mean, are you guys gonna stick around and listen? I mean, we've been out here for an hour and 1 minute already. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Truly appreciate it. Artisan forever. Hey, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Maybe I'll save this pataki for the next go. Right? There's tons of patakis out there. All right, nonetheless. But I know each and every one of you is Sunday. Get your rest. You start your work week for some. But you know, yeah, let me calm down because if not, we'll be here for hours, guys. But Alex is ready. Alex is like, dale, dale, dale. But you guys do know I hold courses. So if you guys are ever interested in courses, I constantly do that every week, like clockwork. I'm doing courses. If it falls on a holiday or something like that, obviously then I owe two courses, and there's a whole process to that. It's a pay as you go type of thing. But it's done on a monthly basis. But if you guys are interested, you email me. I'll put everything on here. But that's how you truly get after it. But other than that, I will see you guys next Sunday. Will you be live next Sunday? Absolutely. For everybody. This is my goal. Every Sunday, unless it falls on a holiday or something, and maybe I'll do a pre-recording and throw it out there, and it won't be live, but it'll be a recording that's released on that Sunday. But the goal is that the world religions are not the only ones that need to corral their folks. We need to corral ourselves as a community. We need to be able to talk our own good word, right? As these people are in their churches and their temples and doing their things and bashing us a lot of times, right? No, we need to get together too. That's the reason I did it. I said, well, you know what? Sunday is fitting, right? End of the work week. Let me talk about this. So, yes, the idea is every Sunday I'm going to be on here. Every Sunday I'm going to have it ready to go, right? So, I'm going to hold myself accountable to that one way, shape, or form. So, with that said, hey, listen, Iburu, Iboya, Bucheche, Cyberland, Alex, I know you said Dale, and I even asked the question, but no, let's do right. I don't want to make this any prolonged, but man, I needed to hear this seriously. No, Iburu boy, Bucheche. Hey, I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, push the good word out. Make sure your friends, your family, everybody's hearing the good word. Our faith is beautiful. Our faith is ancient. Our faith ties back to God Himself and each and every one of you. And I hope you can be the king and queen that needs to sit on that throne for the long game, right? And if you guys need anything, email me. I'll go ahead and put my email in here in case you guys need anything. And with that said, Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, Cherry Body, and Cyberlands, fair Babaláwo, at least I hope so. Omodo, Leke, coming at you.